Opening scene. A thick, eerie silence hangs over the ruined city. Crumbling buildings, burned-out cars, and the faint stench of decay fill the air. Ethan Carter, a former paramedic, crouches behind an overturned truck, gripping a blood-stained crowbar. He is exhausted, his clothes torn, his face smeared with grime. His breath is shallow, any noise could mean death. Flashback to the beginning. 3 weeks ago, life was normal. Ethan was on a routine night shift at the hospital when the first wave of infected arrived. The emergency room became a battlefield, screams echoing as the bitten turned into monsters before his eyes. Chaos erupted. News spread, cities were falling, governments collapsed overnight, and survival became the only rule. Ethan, along with a small group of survivors, had barricaded themselves in an abandoned apartment complex, hoping the nightmare would pass. It didn't. Present time on the run. Now, he is alone. The group was slaughtered when a horde overran their hideout the night before. He barely escaped, running through the night, hiding whenever he could. His goal, find shelter before dark. As Ethan moves through the streets, he spots movement. A lone figure, a teenage girl, Ava, dashes across an alley, pursued by 3 zombies. She stumbles, barely keeping ahead. Ethan has a choice, risk his life to help or keep moving. The first battle. Instinct kicks in. Ethan sprints forward, swinging his crowbar. A sickening crunch as it connects with the nearest zombie's skull. The girl scrambles to her feet as Ethan yells, "Run!" Together, they weave through the streets, ducking into an abandoned diner. They barricade the door, panting. Tension and introductions. Ava is wary of Ethan, clutching a small knife. She's been alone for days, scavenging to survive. Ethan assures her he means no harm. They exchange brief histories. Ava was separated from her brother when the outbreak hit. She doesn't know if he's alive. The rising threat. The sound of moans grows louder outside. The horde is close. They need to move. Ethan peeks through a broken window. Something is wrong. The zombies seem more organized, not just wandering aimlessly. Some are faster than others. They are evolving. The cliffhanger. Ava whispers, "We're trapped." Ethan tightens his grip on the crowbar, sweat trickling down his temple. A shadow moves outside, a massive, mutated zombie unlike anything he has ever seen. The sound of guttural growls fills the air as Ethan and Ava remain frozen inside the diner. The mutated zombie outside is unlike anything Ethan has ever seen, taller, bulkier, with patchy, grayish skin and glowing, bloodshot eyes. Its chest expands with every breath, nostrils flaring as if it's sniffing them out. The desperate escape. Ethan knows they can't stay. The diner is a trap. One exit, one entrance, and too many dead outside. They need a distraction. He spots an old gas stove in the back. If they can ignite it, it might create enough noise to lure the zombies away. Ava hesitates but nods. She carefully moves behind the counter, her fingers trembling as she twists the gas knob. Ethan rips a piece of fabric from his sleeve, stuffs it into a half-empty bottle of whiskey, and lights it with a match from the counter. On 3, he whispers. 1, 2, 3. Ava flicks the stove's ignition switch. A faint hiss, then a small burst of flames. At the same moment, Ethan hurls the makeshift Molotov cocktail toward the entrance, shattering the glass. The explosion is instant. Flames spread across the front of the diner, illuminating the grotesque faces of the horde outside. The zombies shriek, momentarily distracted. The mutated zombie recoils, its unnatural, inhuman eyes narrowing at the fire. "Go, now!" Ethan grabs Ava's wrist, pulling her toward the diner's back exit. The chase begins. The alley behind the diner is just as dangerous. More undead lurk in the shadows, drawn by the explosion. No time to think. Ethan and Ava sprint through the darkness, dodging outstretched arms and snarling mouths. They run through the abandoned city, weaving between wrecked cars and debris. The streets are a war zone, bodies litter the ground, buildings reduced to rubble. Then, Ava trips. Ethan turns just as a zombie lunges at her. A gunshot rings out. The zombie's head jerks back, a bullet tearing through its skull. Ethan whips around, his eyes landing on a mysterious figure standing on a rooftop, a woman with a sniper rifle. A new player. The woman signals them to follow, then disappears into a nearby building. Ethan yanks Ava to her feet, and they make a break for the entrance. Inside, the air is tense. The woman stands with her rifle still raised. She's in her late 30s, wearing tactical gear, her face hardened by experience. You two just nearly got yourselves killed. Ethan exhales sharply. And who the hell are you? She lowers the rifle slightly. Name's Riley. And if you want to survive, you better keep up. Outside, the mutated zombie lifts its head and sniffs the air again. It remembers their scent. It won't stop hunting them. Ethan and Ava barely have time to catch their breath as Riley secures the entrance, her sniper rifle still gripped tightly. The flickering candlelight reveals a well-fortified room, makeshift barricades, ammo crates, and maps pinned to the walls. This isn't just a hideout. It's a war room. Tension in the air. Riley's sharp gaze scans them both. You're lucky I was watching, she says. That thing out there? It's not like the others. Ethan wipes the sweat from his forehead. You mean the big one? Riley nods grimly. Yeah. They call it a stalker. It's smarter than the rest. Once it locks onto prey, it doesn't stop until you're dead. Ava swallows hard. You mean it's hunting us? Riley doesn't answer, she doesn't have to. The truth is clear. A plan to survive. Ethan steps forward. So, what's the plan? We can't stay here forever. Riley smirks. I was just about to leave when you two brought the whole damn horde to my doorstep. She moves to a table, pointing at a map of the city. There's a safe zone west of here. Heavily fortified, survivors, supplies. But we need to cross 5 blocks of infested territory to get there. Ethan studies the map. How do you know it's still standing? I don't, Riley admits. But staying here is suicide. The stalker will tear this place apart once it picks up our trail. The attack begins. A sudden, loud crash outside sends a jolt of fear through the room. The walls tremble. The stalker is here. Ava gasps. It found us already? Riley grips her rifle. Told you, it doesn't stop. Outside, the stalker growls, its massive silhouette visible through the shattered window. A horde of regular zombies gathers behind it, waiting. Then, without warning, the beast charges. The entire building shudders as the front barricade explodes inward. Move! Riley yells. The Great Escape. Ethan grabs Ava's hand as they sprint for the back exit. Riley fires off 3 precise sniper shots, taking down zombies as they pour in. The stalker lets out an inhuman shriek, knocking over furniture as it crashes through the entrance. Riley tosses a smoke grenade, buying them seconds. Get to the rooftops. It's too big to follow up there. They climb the fire escape, racing up the metal stairs as the stalker slams into the building below, roaring in frustration. As they reach the roof, Riley curses under her breath. It's calling them. Down below, the horde surges like a tidal wave, drawn to the stalker's monstrous howl. Hundreds of them. Ethan's heart pounds. We'll never make it to the safe zone. Riley reloads her rifle. Then we better start running. With the city burning around them and a relentless hunter on their heels, their fight for survival is far from over. The night air is thick with the stench of decay and smoke as Ethan, Ava, and Riley sprint across the rooftops. Below them, the horde swarms the streets, drawn by the monstrous howls of the stalker. The creature paces the ground, its glowing eyes locked onto them, snarling in frustration. The deadly jump. Up ahead, the rooftop ends, a 6-foot gap separates them from the next building. No time to hesitate. Riley reaches the edge first. She shoves her rifle over her shoulder, takes a deep breath, and leaps, landing hard on the opposite roof. "Come on," she yells. Ethan grips Ava's wrist. "We go together." Ava's eyes are wide with fear, but she nods. They take off running. The wind howls around them as they leap. Ethan lands first, rolling with the impact, pulling Ava with him just in time. The rooftop beneath them groans. A rotten surprise. A zombie erupts from the shadows, its rotting hands grabbing Ethan's ankle. It had been lurking, waiting. Ethan struggles, kicking wildly. The zombie's teeth snap inches from his leg. Bang! A bullet rips through the zombie's skull. Riley's shot is precise. Ethan exhales sharply, shoving the corpse away. "I owe you one." Riley reloads. "Try not to slow me down." The trap. They move fast, hopping from rooftop to rooftop. But as they reach a crumbling apartment complex, Riley suddenly stops. Her face pales. "We have a problem." Ethan and Ava follow her gaze. Across the rooftop, a small group of survivors stand armed, their guns aimed right at them. A man steps forward, his face covered in dirt and blood. "Drop your weapons," he commands. Riley's jaw clenches. "You've got to be kidding me." Ethan raises his hands slowly. "We don't want trouble." The man smirks. "That's too bad. Because trouble just found you." Behind them, the stalker lets out another monstrous roar. The survivors aren't alone in this fight anymore. The night air crackles with tension as Ethan, Ava, and Riley stand at gunpoint, surrounded by a ragged group of survivors. The leader, a wiry man with a cruel smirk and a scar across his cheek, keeps his shotgun trained on them. "You're trespassing," he sneers. "And in case you haven't noticed, we don't like strangers." Ava clenches her fists. "We didn't know this was your place." Riley stays still, her sniper rifle hanging loosely at her side. "We don't have time for this. There's a horde coming. If you want to argue, do it when we're not about to be eaten." The scarred man chuckles. "That's your problem, not mine." The monster arrives. A thunderous crash shakes the rooftop. The stalker has climbed onto the building. Its massive claws dig into the concrete as it hauls itself over the edge, its grotesque face twisted in a predator's grin. One of the armed survivors panics and fires, a fatal mistake. The gunshot echoes through the night, drawing even more undead toward the building. All hell breaks loose. The stalker lunges, moving faster than its size should allow. It grabs the nearest survivor, a woman, and tears her apart like paper. Screams erupt as the group breaks formation, firing wildly. Fight or flight. Ethan grabs Ava's wrist. "Run." They dart through the chaos as the stalker crushes another survivor under its weight. Riley fires, her shot hitting its shoulder, but it barely flinches. The scarred leader shouts orders, but his men are already scattering, some jumping across rooftops, others frozen in fear. Ava pulls Ethan toward a rusted fire escape. "There, go!" The desperate descent. Ethan and Ava climb down the fire escape as gunfire and screams fill the air above. Riley follows, sniping zombies that are gathering below. The moment their feet hit the ground, they sprint down a dark alley. Behind them, the rooftop battle ends with one last, horrifying scream. The stalker has won. And now, it's hunting again. Ethan pants, gripping his knees. "We need to keep moving." Riley reloads. "No kidding." Ava swallows hard. "Did anyone survive up there?" Riley doesn't answer. The safe zone mission continues. They don't stop running until the sounds of the horde fade into the distance. Ahead, the ruins of the city stretch before them, and somewhere beyond the darkness lies the safe zone. Ethan exhales. "We still heading west?" Riley nods. "Yeah. But let's be clear, if we run into more people, we don't stop. We don't trust. We keep moving." Ava looks back toward the carnage they barely escaped. "Agreed." In the distance, a familiar growl echoes through the streets. The stalker is still hunting them. And it's getting closer. The city is deathly quiet. Too quiet. Ethan, Ava, and Riley move cautiously through the ruins, staying low, their footsteps muffled against the cracked pavement. The stalker is still out there, but for now, it has lost their trail. They stick to the back streets and alleys, avoiding the main roads where the undead roam. Their goal remains the same: reach the safe zone to the west. A highway of the dead. Eventually, they reach a massive collapsed overpass leading toward the outskirts of the city. Hundreds of wrecked cars litter the highway, their doors hanging open, their former passengers long dead, or worse. Ethan scans the area. If we move fast, we can cross without drawing attention. Riley doesn't look convinced. Or we get trapped in a metal graveyard. Ava sighs. Do we have another option? They don't. With weapons ready, they start moving through the tangled mess of vehicles. The air is thick with the stench of rot. The whispering horror. Halfway across, Ethan freezes. Something moves beneath one of the cars. A wet, slithering sound. He grips his crowbar tighter. Did you hear that? Ava nods slowly. Yeah, what is that? Riley swings up her rifle, scanning the wreckage. Nothing visible. Then, a whisper. A rasping, guttural voice hisses from under a truck. Not words. Just sound. Then another. And another. The whispers spread across the highway. A trap. Ethan's eyes widen. Run. The attack. The first whisperer crawls out from beneath a car, a grotesque, emaciated corpse with hollow eyes and torn lips, its throat rattling as it hisses unnaturally. Then, dozens of them emerge at once. Their movements are erratic, limbs twisting at impossible angles. They don't scream like normal zombies. They whisper, their voices merging into a nightmarish chorus of death. Ava screams. Riley fires, dropping 3 of them, but more keep coming. Ethan kicks open a car door. In here. They dive into an abandoned SUV, slamming the doors shut. The whisperers surround the vehicle instantly, their pale hands clawing at the glass. No way out. Riley grips her gun. We are so screwed. Then, from a distance, a flare shoots into the sky. The whisperers turn sharply toward the light, their whispers growing louder. Ethan exhales. Someone's out there. Ava grips his arm. Should we go to them? Before anyone can answer, the stalker's roar shakes the air. It's coming. And this time, there's nowhere left to run. The SUV shakes violently as the whisperers press their rotting faces against the glass, their hollow eyes peering inside. Their inhuman hissing sends chills down Ethan's spine. Outside, the flare still burns in the sky, drawing some of the undead away, but not enough. Then, a thunderous roar. The stalker has arrived. Ethan, Ava, and Riley watch in horror as the massive creature charges onto the highway, its mutated muscles flexing as it moves on all fours like a beast. The whisperers turn. Their heads tilt in unison, focusing on the larger predator. Then, chaos erupts. The stalker pounces, ripping through the whisperers with terrifying speed. Limbs fly. Blood sprays. The whisperers try to retreat, but the stalker is too fast, too strong. An opportunity to escape. Riley grips Ethan's shoulder. We move. Now. Ethan nods. On 3. Before he can finish, Ava throws open the door and sprints. Ethan curses and follows, Riley close behind. They weave through the wreckage, stepping over mutilated bodies as the stalker continues its massacre. The rescue team. They race toward the source of the flare, an overturned military vehicle, its back doors flung open. A man in tactical gear waves them over. Move, move. Riley recognizes the uniform. Soldiers? Ethan doesn't care. They dive inside just as the stalker notices them. The beast lets out a deafening roar and charges. The escape. The soldier slams the doors shut. Brace yourselves. The driver floors the gas, and the vehicle lurches forward, smashing through abandoned cars. The stalker gives chase. Ethan grips a seat. It's gaining on us. Riley unshoulders her sniper rifle. Not for long. She fires through the back window, hitting the stalker in the eye. It howls in fury, stumbling back as the vehicle speeds away. For now, they're safe. But Ethan knows, it's not over yet. The safe zone is near. And something worse than the stalker might be waiting for them. To be continued. The military vehicle barrels down the ruined highway, speeding toward the supposed safe zone. The distant city burns behind them, a grim reminder of how quickly civilization fell. Ethan clutches the side of the truck, still catching his breath. Ava sits beside him, eyes darting between the soldiers and Riley, as if waiting for someone to explain what just happened. "Who the hell are you people?" Riley demands, gripping her rifle. The soldier in the passenger seat turns, his scarred face partially covered by a tattered U.S. Army patch. "We're what's left of the 22nd Battalion. And you just led a stalker straight to our front door." Ava's stomach drops. "You mean, it's still following us?" The soldier nods grimly. "They don't stop. Ever." The arrival at the safe zone. The truck skids to a stop at a massive fortified gate. Barbed wire, floodlights, and armed guards stand atop the walls. Beyond them, glimpses of people, survivors, moving within. Hope flickers in Ethan's chest. They made it. A voice crackles over a speaker, "Identify yourselves." The soldier leans out. "Open the damn gates. We've got civilians and a stalker inbound." For a tense moment, nothing. Then, with a loud clank, the gate begins to slide open. The truck roars forward, screeching into the compound. The gates slam shut behind them just as a terrifying, inhuman roar echoes from the distance. The stalker has arrived. The final stand. Soldiers scramble to the walls, positioning themselves. Spotlights sweep the dark. Then, the stalker emerges from the ruins. Blood-covered, still seething from its earlier wound, it slams into the gate, making the metal tremble. The commander barks orders. "Light it up." A hail of gunfire erupts, bullets ripping into the creature. It shrieks in rage, clawing at the walls, trying to climb. But this time, it's outmatched. A rocket whooshes through the air. Boom! The explosion engulfs the stalker. When the smoke clears, its charred corpse twitches one last time, then falls still. The soldiers cheer. The threat is over. Or so they think. A bitter truth. Ethan steps out of the truck, taking in the sight of the settlement, hundreds of survivors, makeshift homes, food, water, everything they've been searching for. Riley, however, looks uneasy. She eyes the soldiers warily. She leans in to whisper to Ethan. Something isn't right. Ethan frowns. "What do you mean?" "We're safe." Before Riley can answer, the commander approaches. "Welcome to Outpost 16. You'll be processed soon." His cold stare lingers a little too long. Ava grips Ethan's arm. "I don't like this." From somewhere inside the compound, a scream echoes. Ava's heart pounds. The nightmare isn't over. It's only just beginning. The END, for now.